was the internet found out you were supposed to be Mr. McMahon's son. And so when the internet finds out and Vince McMahon finds out the internet knows, he changes things because he doesn't want anyone to know the surprise because they were building up this for months and months and months. Well, it turns out to be Hornswoggle.
Mhm.
So originally, was the internet right about you? Supposed to be Mr. McMahon's son?
Yes, the internet was right and they were wrong, because the only reason that I didn't end up becoming the son was I got suspended
Oh.
literally the like 5 days before they were going to do the reveal in Green Bay, because the reveal ended up happening in Green Bay and I got suspended. I was part of that, like, signature pharmacies. There was like 9 or 10 of us that got busted for getting performance enhancing supplements off an internet website, which kind of wasn't how that all went down. But I remember that particular instance. I came home, right. They had already told me this a few months before. Stephanie had come up to me and said, "Hey, we're going to do this thing. I want Vince to tell you, though. Like, Vince thinks this is going to be good. He's excited about it." So I went in and he pitched me the whole idea. We're going to have this big investigation, and you're going to be my son. You're going to, and so and I remember we did all these, like, they were doing this big investigation for
Oh yeah.
weeks, and I had a little interaction with Vince one time, and I said something, and then I turned and I walked away, and I did the Vince walk, and um just little stuff like that. So they were going to reveal it was me, and then so, like, I remember we taped SmackDown. I flew home on a Wednesday. It was on a Wednesday. I flew home. I basically got into my door, and I got a call from Johnny's secretary in the office. "Hey, they need you to come to there. You need to go to the airport because you need to come to Stamford. Vince wants to talk to you." And I was like, "All right, here we fucking go."
Yeah.
Go back to the airport. They had my that's okay. They
I thought
had
someone tripped. I was like, did they trip or are they ducking?
She's trying to duck. What was that? I don't know. It was something
Yeah.
fast.
I don't know.
Um,
Someone trying to attack
yeah,
you.
go ahead. And so yeah, here we go. I go to the airport, fly back to Stanford. Car comes and picks me up, takes me to Titan Towers, and I get there, and there's like 8 other guys in the office. What are you guys doing here? And we don't know. I don't think it's good though. And I was like, oh. So then I remember Edge was the first guy to go in. He went in, and we were all like, let us know when you come back out what it is. And he came out and he goes, "I can't say anything. It's not good." And he fucking turned and walked out. And then I think I was third to go in, and yeah, they just laid it out like, "Here, we instituted this wellness policy on such and such a date, and it says the year that you received this, and some growth hormone and stuff like that." And I was like, "It says in our policy that you're not allowed to order this stuff off the internet." And I was like, "I didn't order it off the internet. I saw a doctor." Well, the doctor ended up ordering it off the internet. So it was
Interesting.
still like, "I'm sorry, we got to do this." So they suspended me for 30 days and fined me $10,000. And so then they just flipped it, because they were already going to do this reveal. They had announced they were going to do the reveal, and it was down to me. It was a blonde person, so it was me. It was male, and the person was blonde, and so it was me, Hornswoggle, and
In Triple H.
Sandman.
Oh,
No,
Sandman! Ah!
yep.
Oh
So
my.
yep,
So if the doctor didn't order the prescription drugs that you got legally from the internet, everything would have been fine.
yeah, I think so.
So for instance, I don't need names, but I know some people involved with that, some of the names, but we don't have to bring them here in this conversation. The people that also were there that day, did you eventually talk to them, and did you all go through the same doctor? Or is this a scenario of no matter
Yeah,
what, if the internet is involved, this is our policy?
no, it was we were going to the same doctor. It was like,
Okay.
Um, they instituted the wellness policy, and like to be honest, like to go from taking stuff for several years to you're not allowed to take this anymore,
Hmm.
it was really hard. Emotionally, I think like low testosterone is more detrimental to one's health than having high testosterone in most cases. But and so basically, it was suggested by a bunch of people like, hey, there's these wellness clinics you can go to, and you can actually they'll test you and they'll tell you if you have a deficiency, and they will prescribe you some stuff for that deficiency. I wasn't taking it to like get big and jacked up.
Yeah.
Look at me at the time, like I've never been the steroid guy, like,
Yeah.
um, but but yeah, it was taken for that. But again, that doctor was ordering things, the he was doing it incorrectly. So,
Because I
and
remember there.
at the time, the Benoit thing had happened. Eddie had just died. Congress was like really, really breathing down the WWE's neck, and
Yeah.
you know,
So that's probably why the sudden because of course we've heard stories of even wrestlers who's still there now who did their 3 strikes, and the policy is 3 strikes you're out, and then the policy changes suddenly. Oh, it's actually this new policy. Is this because of the main star that has failed 3 times? So you've changed your policy, or you're changing your policy because you feel like it's the right thing to do for the entire company? And that's what it turns into, this weird scenario of, like you said, you weren't even a big guy then. I remember there was a larger wrestler. He wasn't muscular, but he was a big guy, and he was also involved with the situation you're talking about. And you're like, this, and again on the internet, so you're like, this guy, why would he take steroids? Like he's like a fatter man. Like, why would he need to take this? So it's very odd that it was the internet that got everyone in trouble versus getting prescribed medicines for yourself.
it was it was TRT, man. It was testosterone replacement therapy.
That's so
So
weird. That's so weird that the internet is the reason. But maybe the Chris Benoit situation also was like, we cannot have any loose ends no matter what, no matter who. We have to make sure that we don't get caught in this mess again, because
yep,
that was a situation they couldn't escape. It wasn't like,
yep,
oh, we'll ignore the wrestling dirt sheets. This wasn't wrestling dirt sheets. This was CNN. This was Fox. This was everybody talking about this awful situation involving Benoit and his family. So probably they're just like, we have to make sure that we don't get caught in this situation again, no matter what.
exactly. And it was news for, it felt like a month and a half maybe, where it was like, it wasn't just, usually when something happens, something big happens, it's in the news for a couple nights. They'll talk about it and then they're on to the next thing. This was like week after week after week. It was the focus of all these different news programs, So
Well, I think
it felt
always
like
it feels like wrestling is always a target, and so when they find a bullseye, no matter who it is, they go for it. And it's always, I feel like that's always the case, no matter what happens in wrestling. It seems to be the bullseye. But like you brought up Chris Benoit being a news story. I've watched wrestling since 1992. I know plenty of people who do not watch wrestling, and guess what? That situation, everyone. Oh, did you hear about this? Yeah, of course I heard about it. But like,
yeah,
that's the thing. Everyone who doesn't even watch wrestling is hearing about this, and immediately is like, oh my god, did you hear about this the story, the situation? And you're like, yeah, but like, I don't know. I'm not these people. I don't know what the situations of, the circumstances behind their closed doors. Nobody knows, and anyone who even wants to speculate can speculate all they want, but nobody knows.